Hi guys, hope everyone's having a fantastic Monday. I'm trying to do laundry and do productive stuff, get my house sorted. Um, but I've been talking to so many people, and a lot of people have been thinking about the same thing at the moment is, the youth and where the youth is going, where their mindset and energy, what it's directed at. And when I think about my son, I look at myself as a parent as well as his behavior as an individual. Now he's an adult, and I look back at even things that my mum said to me, like when I met his dad. She didn't think he was the right person for me, and me being an 18-year-old, thinking that I'm a big woman, thinking that I know it all, I made the decision to be with this person. And subsequently, hold on, I got a message. So subsequently, a few months down the line, after my mum saying, I don't think this person is the one for you, and me not listening, I then ended up pregnant with my first child at 18. And it was my first proper relationship as well. So I look back at that situation now, and I think to myself, I was still a baby, and I hadn't lived. And if I had listened to my mother, certain things in life wouldn't have happened. But then I'm thankful for those things as well, because of those things, I have my eldest son, and I wouldn't be the person that I am today. So it gives you perspective, the things that you go through. So it's important that we talk to our youth about our experiences being a teenager, growing up, relationships, sex, and all of those things, and not to be ashamed of the emotions that you feel, or the situations you go through in life, how it makes you feel, what it does to you emotionally. We shouldn't be afraid to express those things that we go through. And I know for a fact that the upbringing that my son had compared to my younger two has definitely affected the decisions that he makes now, what he does with his life now, how he thinks about life as a whole. Because compared to my youngest two and my eldest grew up without his dad being around. And for many years, people assumed I was keeping my son away from his dad, which wasn't the case. I never would do that. My mum always said to me from day dot, regardless of what you and your child's father have, emotionally wise, it's nothing to do with your child. You have to allow that child to have a relationship with both parents. End of story. No ifs, no buts, no maybe. Unless it's detrimental to the child's well-being, then there's no other reasons for any child to not have that parent in their life. And she said that to me because of what she went through in her life, being married to somebody, that marriage not working out, and my dad not being around. And she didn't stop him from being involved in our life. And thankfully, my mum married a lovely man who I call my dad. So I had to learn from that situation as well. So it kind of gave me perspective when I had my own child, how I would deal with the situation when that happened to me. So I think that's why I was more open to, when our relationship did break up, that my child had a relationship with their dad. But through his choices, he chose not to have that relationship. And thankfully, my son was able to still have male role models in his life. He was able to, he had his uncle, his granddad, and I then met my partner when he was about 5, going on 6, and he took him on like his own. So he always had a male role model in his life. He always had love, and I think he was a bit spoilt being the the only grandchild of my two parents at the time. And I look back at the fact that when I had him, I was young. After I had him, if it wasn't for my mum and my dad being such a great support system, that I was able to go back to college and complete my A levels. I then was able to work full time to support myself and my child and put him through schooling. And it is very hard being a parent. It's very hard being a single parent. And it's very hard being a single parent when you have sickle cell anemia or any other disability or ailment. And it is a joy having your child. That is the one thing that I think keeps me going is my children. And a lot of parents beat themselves up when their child becomes a certain age where they're an adult and they make the wrong decisions in life and they do the wrong thing or they go against the grain. And a lot of it is to do with boredom, lack of opportunity. There's only so much a parent can do for a child. And when they do reach an adult, you then have to guide them, show them love, never give up on your child, never cut off your child, even if you don't agree with how they live their life. Like, I don't agree with how my eldest lives his life, but I know a lot of it has to do with that fact of, I know I went through it when I was going through my teenage years and my 20s, that me and my dad had issues because in at that young immature age I would say things to him like, oh, but you're not my real dad though, when he's trying to guide me and tell me the right thing. And thankfully I have a mum that was not having that crap and would put me in my place, and I had to learn that regardless of whether he's my dad or not, genetically he raised me to be the person I am now. And thankfully, with maturity, I learned that it's not about DNA, it's about who puts in the time and that dedication into a person and that love into a person. That's what makes you family. That's what makes you a father. That's what makes you a mother. So it took me maturity to learn and understand that the choices that I make in my life, yes, play out in the future and shit happens, but we have to own the decisions that we make. Because I made the decision to choose a certain person to have a child with, so now I have to understand that's the choice I made, come to terms with that choice. It didn't work. You then move on from that situation. You try to teach your child to do better by showing example and make them understand situations. Be honest with your children. Don't hide things from your children. Have communication. Parents need to put emotions aside and put a child first and foremost, because it affects a child in the long run. I know a lot of the behavior that my son expresses and shows me just how he lives his life is because he's got that I don't care mentality. And I know that I don't care mentality is adopted for deep down he feels that he's got a man around him that he considers dad, but that is doing all the things that dad do, but his actual biological dad doesn't do that. And I know when I was his age, that I was the angry black female that people like to talk about, and have that horrible term attached to certain attitudes. But it's because I was going through at a time where, well, my dad didn't pay no interest in me. I don't have much respect for men. And we all have there's a cause and effect for all situations that happened. So someone goes through an emotional situation, the effect of that, they're going to display a certain behavior or mentality, or they will see life in a certain way. And when I was in my teens, I was like an angry, I showed anger towards males unknowingly, because of me growing up and feeling that my dad didn't pay me no mind, and it wasn't in my life and didn't care about me. And you put on a front that you don't care, and it comes out in your attitude, your behaviors, and the choices that you make, the people you choose to be around. It does affect how you deal with life and life struggles. So probably why I made the choices that I made, that my son goes through what he's going through emotionally now. So this is why I now sit down with all my children, even the younger ones, and I tell them about my life, what I've been through, what certain choices that you make in life can lead to, how what you say and do to other people affect people's emotions, and to not just act in emotion as well, because we all do it. We're all guilty of acting in emotions, saying and doing the wrong thing. And if we put it into practice and we have more understanding of other people's situations, and we talk about these things that people don't like to talk about. I know my my parents and their parents, those generations didn't talk about certain things like emotions, and men crying and expressing their frustration in that way. It was frowned upon, where it's normal. You should feel free to cry and let out that energy if you are upset and you're angry, because crying, it's better to cry than keep that emotion in, then go out on the road and someone says something small to you, you blow up and get into a big drama with somebody when you could have just let it out in a cry privately. It is normal to do those things, and I think it is important that we do share when we go through stuff. We talk to people. You don't have to go live about it. You can pull a friend and talk to a friend. But so many parents are going through so much stress and depression and guilt because of the choices that they made and the things that they see their children behaving like now. And the only way you can deal with change is to deal with change within yourself. And I know that now my son is 19 going on 20, that regardless of how he behaves, I'm going to love him. But I know for a fact that I have to cut the strings of emotion and leave him and let him grow and learn from his own mistakes, because if I don't do that, the stress, it can kill you. I stopped eating. I stopped being myself. I stopped feeling I started to feel depressed because of worrying about what the future held for my eldest child, because of decisions that he was making. And I can see, especially having done A-level psychology and loving mental health and the things that go into mental health, this is what led me on to nutrition, because that's where fundamentally everything boils down to. I have a passion in the human being and a healthy human being and how we live good with one another. I want to learn all of it if I can. And this is why I think it's important that we sit down and we talk to our teenagers and make them understand emotions and the consequences of emotions and the morals in life, because this day and age, some of the youth that we see running up and down don't even have manners for a granny that's pushing her box trolley. And in my day, if I saw an old lady pushing her box trolley, I'm not pushing past that woman, I'm letting that woman go first. But we don't see these things nowadays. It's like, I told my child on the bus, because she's 8, she can stand up on the bus. I told her to stand up and let an old lady sit down. And the way this old lady reacted, like it was the newest thing that she'd seen, for someone to get up and offer her a seat, that upset me. Like, how you not experience these things? How are people not getting up for this old lady on the bus? Because she looked like, if that bus was to break hard, she ain't holding her full. So if I can see that, anyone can see that. Give the old lady a seat. And it's just showing you the day and age that we're in, and the mentality of people today, that we need to be more understanding and walk in love and accepting of people, because we are only showing our children this, and they're only going to behave in a certain way if we are behaving in a certain way. And we have to, it's deep nowadays, it is. And it's sad to see the youth acting how they're acting. And even I sit down with my eldest and I reason with him and I talk to him, and yet he can go out of the house for 5 minutes and be amongst his peer group and become a totally different person. And if society had, as a whole, all looked within and dealt with their own demons and feelings of guilt, because I felt guilty for a long time for overcompensating for Jaden not having 2 parents around all the time. And I learned the hard way, because his behaviour from the age of 7 went off the hook, especially when my mum passed away. And he became so difficult then as well, because he didn't have that attention from grandma anymore. Nanny wasn't around to spoil him like she did. So if I could go back, and what I've learned now and with my youngest 2, is that regardless of the crap that happens in life, you still, as a human being, need to be accountable for your actions. And if you are not behaving in a certain way, then you cannot have treats, you cannot have PlayStation, you cannot have Nintendo Switch, you cannot have park and treats, you cannot have trainers and designer shoes. You will get High Tech and Primani. These are the things that I distill in my youngest 2, and I see the difference in their behavior and how they treat other people and how they love each other, how they show love towards me and their dad. It makes a big difference on what you show your child from a young age, and not submitting to emotions and feelings of guilt and feelings of, but I didn't have that when I was younger, so I'm going to give it all to my child now. No, it's not about that. It's about them being a rounded, healthy, happy, nice, empathetic human being. It's not about giving the materialistic things in life. And I find me and my children connect much better and talk to each other on the same level when we do things like walk to the park or gardening, things that are free, don't cost money. We talk, do you know what I mean? We have conversations, get to know your children, because they are eye-opening, the things that they get up to, the things that teach them things that they watch in games. Like, I had having a conversation with my child made me realize I don't like what you're watching, because what you're watching is making you behave a certain way and say certain things that I don't like, because what they watch is possibly from a different culture. Like, the accents are different, so the meaning of words are different. So I don't want you saying certain things, so you're not watching that. We have to really be in touch with our youth and close with our youth. So when they are out on the street, we're not getting videos posted up and you see your youth on there acting a certain way. Cause I know that would be embarrassing, and thank the Lord I've never seen nothing with my child on there. But it could happen, because like I said, when my eldest leaves the house, he would be saying, I love you, Mum, in the house. But when he leaves the house, we don't know what our children do. All we can hope is that what the values that we distill in them, they hold on to them values, and they treat other people how they wish to be treated. That's all you can really hope for, isn't it? But when they're an adult, they have to be accountable for their own actions. Definitely. We all have to be accountable for our own actions. So I would like to say, all parents out there, always love your children, speak to your children, communicate with your children, but when they become an adult, do not stress yourself. Yes, you love them, you gave birth to them, but when they become an adult, they have choices. The Creator put us all on this earth to be the best that we can be, and we are divine because that simple fact, we can make a choice. Animals don't have a choice. They go with their innate instincts, their divine law. But us as human beings, we have a choice. We can go against, divine law and do the wrong thing and mess up and make mistakes and learn from those mistakes and make interventions into our own reality and change things, change the script on how we view life and we view each other and we view the world. Hey, cuz. So, yeah, that's my thought for today, my Monday thought for today. Because, yeah, I think no one can really look at our youth behaviour and not 100% own their own accountability for why a child is doing what they're doing. I know my child acts a certain way, regardless of me showing certain too much possibly, and giving too much because of situations that happened in my life. But there comes a point where I sat down and I had to be real with my son and say, look, this is what it is. But you can't keep using your past experiences as an excuse when you know right from wrong. So life is what you make it. And if you want drama and all of that, that's what you'll get. If you don't, you will, look into self, because it always starts with you. It definitely starts with you owning the things that you are happy about and owning the things you're unhappy about. So, yeah, that's what I've been thinking about, and I thought I'd have a chat. And parents, you are not alone. We are all going through that parenthood struggle. It don't get no easier as they get older, but my children are the best thing that happened to me, because I wouldn't be here today without them. I was told I couldn't have children because of my sickle cell, and I've been blessed with 3 of them. Healthy, very good looking children, if I say so myself. And I'm thankful and I'm blessed, and I know that regardless of what hurdles my children go through in life, I know fundamentally they're gonna end up great human beings and they're gonna find their path. I think Cheyenne will probably be the quickest to find her path, because she's she's very, I don't know, how would you say, astute. She knows what she wants from life. She wants to be like 4 different jobs at one time. She wants to be a singer. She wants to be a dancer, gymnast, taekwondo, and a vet, and a doctor, all at once. So I know Cheyenne is going to definitely have a lot more focus and strive for what she wants from life. I don't think I'm going to have to worry about her so much. I'm going to have to be firm with Sharik, because he'll quite happily let everyone just do things for him. Reminds me of somebody. But, yeah. My little man, he's very, very, very smart. So that's why I like to keep them focused with the taekwondo. But I know regardless of anything that's thrown at them, they're going to be great human beings. And I'm very proud to be a parent. And I've learned any advice that I could give other parents is, when you are going through those tough times, cut off the emotions. Don't care that they got upset that you took their tablet. Don't business. If they're not behaving acceptably, how you wish them to go to school and behave, then you ain't getting nothing. You ain't getting a ting. You're lucky I feed you if you're not behaving right. Now, we have to feed the children. We can't not feed them. But you can threaten it. You know, we can't mess about with our youth nowadays, because they need to learn the rules and the divine laws of life. You know, we have to have humanity for one another. You can't be behaving a certain way towards your elders. You must understand that rule, that elder rule, because I understood it. Everyone should know the elder rule. And my thoughts for today. So everyone have a lovely afternoon. Hope everyone is well. Have a great evening. Bye.